Did Buckingham Palace or Prince William set a trap for Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, and were they gullible enough to fall into it?
He's had enough. He wants to clean the monarchy, and it's all now in the hands of the courts. Meghan Markle is in full mode panic along with Harry because they both know what they did.
The stories would come out. So apparently, according to other journalists, we found out that there were a lot of porcupines probably told to the royals and even to Harry when they met her, and in order to cover up.
It's actually torture to listen to that woman now, because every other word out of her mouth is a lie. None of it really makes sense.
Please subscribe. It costs you nothing, but it truly means so much to me. Prince William just drew a hard line in the sand, and it cut straight through Meghan Markle's maternity ward story. While the Duchess was busy filming TikTok dances in a hospital delivery room and posting them on Instagram for clicks and attention, a courtroom across the Atlantic was quietly cracking open a serious legal issue, one that some insiders hoped would never see daylight.
Maybe King Charles didn't want to do anything about it given what's going on with Andrew, but in order for William to save the monarchy, he has to deal with the Archie and Lilibet problem.
A £157 million inheritance battle, a surrogate-born aristocrat, and a 400-year-old legal rule that asked one uncomfortable question the palace has carefully avoided since 2019. Were the Sussex children born of the body? Because under old British law, that phrase is not just tradition, it's everything.
People think her kids are fake, they think they're AI.
I'm going to quote Tom Bauer by saying, he said, look, we all laughed at Samantha and she was right, and everything she said has come true.
And if that condition isn't met, the line of succession doesn't just wobble, it fractures. Just days ago, one of the biggest legal stories in British aristocracy dropped, and surprisingly, many royal commentators barely touched it. The Marquess of Bath, Alexander Thynne, walked into the High Court in Bristol with his legal team and admitted something shocking. His second son, 9-year-old Henry, born via surrogacy in West Hollywood in 2016, may not legally qualify as an heir to the family's massive fortune.
Something is happening right now in the courts, which is incredibly important, and nobody's paying attention to it because this will make history, and not in a good way for Rachel Meghan Markle.
We're talking about £157 million locked inside old family trusts written before 1970. And under those historic definitions, a child not born of the body of the mother doesn't automatically qualify. That's not gossip. That's courtroom language. Mr. Justice Matthews said it plainly.
Trevor put an article out there that Meghan had a hysterectomy and couldn't have children. And that was a big issue in their relationship. So that says a lot to the fake royal kids right now, because obviously they couldn't have come out of her. So that's something that she obviously is going to have to deal with.
There is uncertainty as to whether Henry falls at present within the class of beneficiaries. Let that sink in. A 9-year-old boy, biologically related to his parents, born through fully legal surrogacy, and the British legal system is still debating whether he counts under centuries-old wording. Now here's where this gets explosive. The royal line of succession runs on the same ancient phrase.
This scandal comes as no surprise. Speculation about the children has been simmering for years.
Silence everybody and just produce a DNA sample or proof of delivery. If you had those things, it would be very easy just to put them out there and say, this is what happened. This is what it is.
In this case, about whether you think the birth was real, whether you think there was a surrogate, whether you think Meghan was wearing a moon bump, the fact is, Harry and Meghan lied. Buckingham Palace lied on their behalf. There was a complete cover-up over the birth of Prince Archie.
Born of the body. That wording has been locked into law since the Act of Settlement 1701. For over 300 years, every royal heir has been documented, witnessed, and formally recorded under strict palace protocol. No gray areas, no creative interpretations, no modern shortcuts. But when Archie arrived, critics say the usual level of public confirmation looked very different. That's where speculation online has grown louder, even without official findings to support it.
She had a lot of health issues and she couldn't have one of her children. So they had to use a surrogate in the United States. Why the United States? Because in the United Kingdom, the children, even though through a surrogate, belong to the surrogate. The Marquess of Bath was open and transparent about this. So she is right now going through the legal process because as per the Peerage Act of 1963, that child born in the United States from a surrogate is not entitled to anything, inheritance or anything.
The core issue isn't social media rumors, it's the legal wording that hasn't evolved with modern reproductive methods. This Bristol case just proved one thing loud and clear. Those old aristocratic rules still have teeth. And if they can challenge a £157 million inheritance, people are asking what that means for anything tied to succession law. The phrase born of the body suddenly isn't just historic language, it's a live legal debate.
Who does he take after? Does he look like anyone?
We're still trying to figure that out.
Everyone says that babies change so much over 2 weeks. We're basically sort of monitoring how the changing process happens over this next month, really. But his looks are changing every single day. Yeah. So who knows?
Look, this isn't about hating Meghan because social media said so. I followed her story long enough to notice a pattern myself. The same woman who sat across from Oprah Winfrey talking about living authentically is also linked to a team that reportedly sends cease and desist letters when people ask direct questions about timelines. That contrast is what raises eyebrows. Authenticity is supposed to mean openness, not tight brand control dressed up in royal sparkle. And the pregnancy issue? It's not about wild internet rumors.
But there were so many of them, and why? It would have been so easy to be honest about who she is. So all of these lies started coming out, but we didn't know that she had told the royal family so many porcupines. So it makes sense, oh my God, I've got to keep everybody away because if they start talking, the lies come out.
Classic.
It's about a basic constitutional question. In a monarchy built on bloodline succession, clarity matters. Where were the children born? When? Who officially confirmed it? When Prince William and Catherine, Princess of Wales, welcomed their children at St. Mary's Hospital, the world saw the steps photo within hours. Doctors signed notices. The process was visible. Tradition checked every box.
We've had Harry on Spare talking about, how Meghan Markle, how complicated it was, how they went to the hospital, how Meghan Markle had to have 2 epidurals. We know all of that is BS. We know all of that is a lie.
When Archie Harrison Mountbatten Windsor was born on May 6, 2019, at London's Portland Hospital, things were handled differently. No hospital steps photo call. A custom going back decades. No publicly displayed medical bulletin signed by attending physicians, which had long been standard for senior royal births. The birth certificate was filed, yes, but the rollout felt different from what people were used to.
Do you remember Meghan actually refused to use the hospital that was usually used by royals and refused to use all of the normal medical staff, and there was all of the weirdness over the timing of the birth?
In his memoir, Spare, Harry wrote that they left within 2 hours, straight into a vehicle and back to Frogmore Cottage before the palace press office formally confirmed labor. For a family that historically treated royal births as constitutional events, not just personal milestones, that shift stood out. Harry's own description added another layer. He wrote about electric candles, framed photos of Diana.
And the Peerage Act of 1963 clearly states, just like for royalty, that a surrogate cannot be used. And William has ordered an open investigation into Lilibet and Archie's birth because he knows that that cannot be hanging over the head of the monarchy, over his reign.
And an Ayurvedic doctor suggesting they whisper wishes to the baby in the first 60 seconds. It reads intimate and personal, heartfelt even. But to critics focused on tradition, it sounded less like an official royal announcement and more like a lifestyle blog entry. As one online commenter joked, other royals give you a birth notice. Harry gave us a candle list. Then came Lilibet's birth in June 2021 at Santa Barbara Cottage Hospital. In Spare, Harry wrote, I slid my hands under the tiny back and neck.
Meghan Markle has been incredibly quiet about the birth, but mostly the pregnancy of these children. Everything has been shady. The one who's been blabbing and saying crazy things is Prince Harry.
I pulled our precious daughter from that world into this. If taken at face value, that's a powerful father moment. No one faults a parent for wanting to be present. But critics point to this. Unlike royal births for centuries, there were no palace-appointed officials publicly confirming the event in the traditional format. And that's where the constitutional debate kicks in. Since the early 1700s, succession rules, rooted in laws like the Act of Settlement 1701, have emphasized legitimacy and documentation. Archie and Lilibet remain in the official line of succession as recognized by the palace. There has been no legal ruling challenging that status. Still, for some observers, the departure from old procedures created questions that haven't fully faded.
I mean, obviously when William was born and Harry was born and George and Charlotte and Louis, we got great pictures outside the hospital. I remember, and William and Catherine especially, they made such an effort to show the whole world their new baby. And then when the baby was born, when Archie was born, that was another, in my view, a disaster because I knew we was not going to get a picture of it. Everybody was hoping we would get pictures.
When children hold high positions in the line to the throne, transparency has historically been part of the system. Whether modern times call for updated traditions is a separate debate. But one thing is clear, when centuries of protocol shift, people notice. And in royal matters, even small changes can echo loudly. Here's the part that keeps spinning in my head. If Meghan and Harry truly have nothing to hide, and maybe they don't, then why hasn't there been one clean, simple confirmation in 6 years? Not a warning from lawyers, not a carefully worded statement through reps, just a straight, calm, here is the verification, case closed.
We said, everything I said in the beginning was favorable, nobody printed that. And when I said nothing, they created stories, and it was really just...
Why does the easiest constitutional question turn into the most complicated PR maze? Multiple royal reporters have claimed that Prince William finds the whole situation unusual. One insider reportedly told commentator Paula M. that William considers certain details around both births fishy. That's a strong word for a future king. And whether that quote is perfectly framed or not, what matters is the pattern people point to. The Sussex profiles were adjusted on the official royal website. Titles are constantly debated whenever commercial projects roll out. Step by step, distance grows. Someone online summed up the frustration in blunt terms. If you dislike the monarchy, why keep the title? That's what drives critics crazy. Not tabloid noise, not wild theories. It's the tension.
So Prince William knows that the crown cannot keep making the same mistakes in the past, that nobody who is not working royal can hold titles. He knows that there is something fishy about Harry and Meghan's kids.
You can criticize the institution in a Netflix series, but then still sign products as Duchess of Sussex. To some, that feels like playing both sides of the chessboard. Now swing back to the Marquess of Bath case, because that's where this stops being gossip and starts being legal language. Alexander Thynn openly used surrogacy. He's not hiding it. He's in court protecting his son Henry's rights. That's a father standing up for his child. Full respect. But here's the key. The court acknowledged that old trust wording does not automatically include children born via surrogacy. Mr. Justice Matthews said there is uncertainty. That's not drama. That's judicial wording, and...
At this point in time, King Charles doesn't understand that he cannot continue having Harry and Meghan on the British monarchy's website when they are absolutely trashing the very same institution and using titles for commercial purposes, which is basically repeating the same pattern that Sarah Ferguson has done and even Andrew did. That has to stop.
The Marquis has to formally petition the court to ensure his son qualifies under historic trust terms. The law doesn't instantly adjust on its own. Now widen the lens. The Act of Settlement, 1701, and the Succession to the Crown Act, 2013, aren't private trust papers a family can tweak over tea. They are constitutional foundations of the monarchy. They operate on centuries-old phrasing like heirs of the body. So here's the uncomfortable hypothetical, and this is purely theoretical. If it were ever formally established that surrogacy was involved in a royal birth high in the line of succession, would Parliament have to clarify how that fits within existing law? Not because anyone says it has happened, not because there is proof, but because the Bath case shows the wording can create gray areas. The key point, Archie and Lilibet are officially recognized in the line of succession. There has been no court ruling challenging that, no parliamentary debate overturning it. That is the legal reality today.
She wants all of the privileges that go along with an identity, but she doesn't want any of the responsibility. She doesn't want to do any of the work. She wants the tiara, she doesn't want the public service.
But the Bath case proves something bigger, that historic inheritance language doesn't always automatically align with modern reproductive methods. And then there's Samantha Markle. Years ago, she told interviewers, people need to look at the timeline. At the time, many dismissed it as family conflict spilling into the press. Now with the Bath ruling splashed across major British papers, some critics say her comments hit differently. Not as proof, not as confirmation, but as part of a debate that refuses to fully fade. This isn't about insults. It's about law, old words, modern realities, and questions that haven't completely settled in the public mind. Samantha's line hits different now. People aren't just studying timelines anymore. They're studying the law. They're reading precedent. They're looking straight at the phrase, born of the body. The same wording now complicating a 9-year-old's £157 million inheritance case, and asking whether that identical language applies equally to 2 children sitting in the line of succession to the British throne. That's not tabloid chatter. That's constitutional arithmetic.
Meghan, a geriatric mother. The family claims and states that Meghan had a hysterectomy. How can a woman with a hysterectomy be pregnant? And most of all, why did the royal family go along with this? And what's going to happen now that this has come out?
And then there's the silence from Montecito. Press statements can spin, legal teams can posture, but when Samantha first raised her questions, what did the public see? Not a clean denial, not a simple clarification. Instead, cease and desist letters and warnings to media outlets. Meanwhile, Prince Harry published a 416-page memoir, Spare, detailing deeply personal stories from his life. Yet critics point out he never directly addressed the surrogacy speculation in clear legal terms. As one online voice put it, he'll explain everything except the one thing people keep asking about. That contrast is what keeps this debate alive. And here's where I land. Prince William didn't create this storm. He inherited it, just like he'll one day inherit the crown. And from what observers can see, he's choosing caution, tightening structures, reducing gray areas, building a future monarchy that leaves fewer open questions hanging in the air. Look at Alexander Thynn. He's in open court fighting for his son's recognition under historic trust wording. Transparent, direct, letting the legal system work in daylight. On the other side, critics argue that the Sussex approach has leaned heavily on legal warnings rather than straightforward public clarification. One family showcases open litigation. The other leans on privacy and legal boundaries. Two very different optics. For longtime royal watchers, the ones who remember Princess Diana's wedding, who mourned her funeral, who cheered when William and Catherine, Princess of Wales, appeared on that Buckingham Palace balcony, this isn't just gossip. It's legacy. It's continuity. It's trust built over decades. A monarchy built on bloodlines can survive scandal. It can survive divorce. It can survive explosive interviews and best-selling memoirs. But what it cannot easily survive is sustained public doubt about succession rules rooted in laws like the Act of Settlement 1701. Right now, the debate itself, not proof, not rulings, but ongoing uncertainty, is what fuels the conversation. If you followed this saga from the beginning, you already know every layer reveals another twist. The next breakdown connects dots that even surprised me during research. So if you're not subscribed yet, now's the moment. Because when that drops, you'll want this full context locked in.